In Part 1, we watched Delta Force be born. We watched them train in secret. We watched them get their first mission, Operation Eagle Claw, and we watched it fall apart in the Iranian desert. 8 men lost, a presidency shaken, a nation humiliated. But here is what I told you at the end of Part 1, and I meant every word. Delta Force didn't break, they rebuilt. And when they came back as something the world had never seen before. A force that could rescue a prisoner from a guarded cell in the middle of Panama City. A force that could hold a crash site alone, outnumbered 100 to 1 in the streets of Mogadishu. A force that would hunt the most dangerous men on earth across Afghanistan and Iraq, night after night, with surgical, devastating precision. Welcome back. If you're new here, go watch Part 1 first. The link is right there. If you already know the origin story, then you're ready. Because today, we go into the operations they never officially admitted happened. The rescues the world never heard about. The battles that changed history in silence. This is Delta Force, Part 2. Let's get into it.
The 1980s were a decade of shadow conflicts. In Grenada in 1983, Delta operators deployed during Operation Urgent Fury, a mission to rescue American medical students and neutralize a Cuban-backed military threat. The operation had complications, but Delta's role in securing key objectives gave planners new data, real data, on how to improve future operations. Then came Panama, 1989, Operation Just Cause. Delta Force was tasked with one of the most sensitive objectives of the entire invasion: locate and rescue an American civilian named Kurt Muse, who had been imprisoned by Manuel Noriega's government. Muse was in Modelo Prison, heavily guarded in the middle of Panama City. Delta operators fast-roped from a helicopter directly onto the prison roof. They breached, located Muse, and extracted him, all within minutes. The helicopter, damaged during extraction, crash-landed near the prison. Delta operators established a perimeter on the ground in the middle of a hostile city and held it under fire until ground forces arrived. Muse survived. Every operator survived. It was the kind of mission that in a Hollywood film would seem too dramatic to be real. It was completely real. But here is where the story gets even more classified. Because throughout the 1980s and into the 1990s, Delta Force was operating in places the American government wasn't publicly acknowledging being: Colombia, Somalia, the Balkans. Let's talk about Somalia, because what happened there was turned into a film, but the film only told part of the story. You know the name, Black Hawk Down. You've probably seen the film, but what that film didn't fully capture, what has never fully been told, is the extraordinary, almost impossible heroism that took place in the streets of Mogadishu on October 3, 1993. And specifically, what Delta Force did that day that the Army itself didn't publicly acknowledge for years. The mission on October 3, 1993 was supposed to take 30 minutes. It lasted 18 hours. Delta Force operators, along with Army Rangers, were tasked with capturing lieutenants of Somali warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid in the heart of Mogadishu. 2 Black Hawk helicopters were shot down by rocket-propelled grenades, and then the city erupted. Thousands of armed militia fighters poured into the streets. American forces were cut off, surrounded, and fighting for their lives in a labyrinth of narrow alleyways. In the chaos, 2 Delta Force operators, Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randall Shugart, did something that defied every survival instinct a soldier has. They volunteered to be inserted alone, on foot, to protect the crash site of Super 6-4 and its wounded pilot, Chief Warrant Officer Michael Durant. They knew the odds. They requested insertion 3 times before being granted permission. They went in. They fought. They held that position against overwhelming numbers until they were killed in action. Their actions saved Michael Durant's life. In 1994, Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart were posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest military decoration. In a war that America largely wanted to forget, two men chose to run toward the fire. That is Delta Force. Not a myth, not a movie. Real men, real sacrifice, real history. After September 11, 2001, the world changed again, and Delta Force was once again at the tip of the spear. In Afghanistan, Delta operators were among the first American forces on the ground, working alongside CIA teams and Northern Alliance fighters to dismantle Taliban command structures.
In Iraq, they were the primary hunters of high-value targets, running a relentless, data-driven campaign that dismantled terrorist networks with surgical precision. The methods were classified, the results were not. Hundreds of high-value targets, thousands of intelligence documents recovered, networks disrupted before attacks could be launched. The modern Delta Force had evolved into something beyond a commando unit. It was an intelligence-driven, precision-strike organism, capable of conducting multiple raids in a single night, analyzing captured intelligence and launching follow-on missions within hours. Speed, precision, lethality, and always invisibility. It is worth pausing here, at this point in the story, to understand something important. Delta Force is not celebrated by the men who serve in it. There are no public ceremonies. Operators don't wear their unit patch in public. They don't discuss their service at dinner parties. Many use cover stories, alternate units, generic assignments to explain their military careers to family and friends. This isn't just protocol, it's identity. The selection process doesn't just filter for physical capability, it selects for a particular psychology. Men who are comfortable with anonymity, men who do not need credit, men who measure success not by recognition, but by outcome. The mission accomplished, the hostage home, the threat was eliminated. That is enough. We've covered birth, failures, battles, and evolution, but I want to leave you with something that isn't in any official record. Something that speaks to what Delta Force really is beneath all the classified files and the Hollywood mythology. Because the most powerful thing about this unit has nothing to do with weapons or tactics. Here is the truth that most military historians eventually arrive at. Delta Force is not primarily a story about violence. It is a story about standards. Beckwith's original vision was not simply to build America's most lethal unit. It was to build America's most disciplined unit. Men who could operate with lethal force, but chose when and how with extraordinary judgment. In a world of chaos, Delta brought order. In a world of noise, Delta brought precision. And perhaps most remarkably, in a military culture that often rewards aggression, Delta Force rewards restraint. The ability to stand down when standing down is the right call. The ability to walk away from a mission that has gone wrong, rather than escalate into catastrophe. Eagle Claw taught them that. Mogadishu reinforced it. Afghanistan and Iraq refined it. The lesson: power without judgment is just destruction. And Delta Force, at its core, despite all the firepower, all the training, all the secrecy, is built on judgment. That is the untold story. Not the weapons, not the raids, the standard. The invisible line that separates a soldier from a warrior, and a warrior from a professional. That line is Delta Force. Delta Force has been operational for nearly 50 decades. In that time, it has fought in conflicts on every continent. It has saved lives that the world will never know were in danger. It has stopped threats that never made the headlines, because stopping them was the point. It exists in the space between what governments admit and what history eventually reveals. And as long as there are complex, dangerous, classified problems in this world, there will be men in that space, unrecognized, unacknowledged, doing the work.
If this video gave you something, a new perspective, a piece of history you hadn't heard, a story worth knowing, then do something simple. Hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about history the way you do. Drop a comment below. I want to know, which chapter hit hardest for you? Eagle Claw? Mogadishu? Tell me. And if you want more deep dives into the classified, the forgotten, and the untold stories of military history, subscribe. The next video is already in the works, and I promise you it goes even deeper. Until then, stay curious, stay informed,